Hey y'all, one sec. Okay, if I don't touch it, it don't move, I don't think. Anyways, hey y'all. My name is StephAArmato here from SAArmatoArts. How you doing? I hope it's well. Hope you're doing well whenever you see this. Morning, noon, or night, however that works. Alright, y'all. If you're new here, hi, my name is StephAArmato from SAArmatoArts. This is my business. And my business is me. Let's be real here. Okay, so this is going to be over the lunar eclipse. This is going to be the longer version, the explanation, the everything that I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to do this as concise as possible. I did a quick version on Instagram. If that helps you, I'm going to upload it here. Maybe I can just tag it. We're trying to figure this out, okay? We ain't the best at everything, but at least this is going to give you some aspects. But this one is going to give you all of it. The astrology is like over 20 minutes long, but I'm just going to try to go power through this because I've recorded it multiple times. So by now, I know what I should be aspecting, okay? Now, the great thing about this is I can talk to you, you can see my face, and you can see all the ready shit. All the written. This is the equivalent of my board because this is a, I got it for $5. Clearance? What is this? Arrow Note. It's basically a wipeable with a friction pen. You have to use a specific pen, but this is my whiteboard, okay? Try to do as much as I could. But there's 4 aspects. 4 that are happening over the lunar eclipse, okay? So, let's rock and roll, shall we? Don't mind the mess, and in case you see my cats, they live here. I just borrow the room to sleep. I just straight up say that all the time. Anyways, if you're new here, hi, my name is StephAArmato. I am an artista, spiritista, and diviner, or some people would call it an oráculo, a seer, depending on who you're from and if you're within my family means and such like that, or close enough for me to get messages just randomly, or if you're buying them from me. All right, cool. Let's get into this because this is going to be a long one. All right, first things first. All right, I did this so you could technically read it. Now, it's almost, as you can see, everything was backwards, so I did my best to write it backwards for you. Hi. Don't mind the mess. But let's explain the aspects, okay? First things first. To have a lunar eclipse, there has to be a full moon. Okay? To be a full moon, the full moon is in Taurus, which is opposition of the sun. Okay, that's how you get a full moon. Alright, great. It's fun. The best way to put it is talking about sister signs. Let's talk about sister signs just to get it out of the way. Scorpio and Taurus are sister signs. Basically, one's weaknesses are the other's strengths, and this person's weaknesses are the other's strengths. Great. All right. Awesome. Let's get into that. They have a lot of similarities that people don't realize unless they're learning astrology, unless you're going through it, or you have planets in both aspects in your astrological chart, and then you'll see them talk about or just represent themselves and in aspects of daily life. That's the best way to put it. So, for people, it's all math, okay? The universe is entire math. Let's just get that out the way. For people who are like, what the hell? I'm going to try to explain this. We have technically, 3 oppositions. Okay, 3 oppositions, which is 180 degrees. Think of the straight line. All right, cool. I am not sponsored by these people. This is just the pen I have right now because this is for the equivalent of the whiteboard in our book. That's what I'm going to call this. All right. So, straight up. Oppositions are the hardest aspects. Think of a line. They literally are pushing against each other doing this. Okay, that's the best way to explain an opposition. Versus trining, conjuncting is they're doing this. They're next to each other. They're next to each other. Not in the sky like this because of the solar system right now. It's like this. But it comes into contact basically like this. Right? Okay, cool. And then you have trines and stuff like that. That's like a third. So a third of the degree, 1/3 degree. All aspects. Good thing is we don't have that to talk about yet. Let's just go into these oppositions, okay? So the sun and the moon are oppositing, right? So they're kind of like, ooh, man, mama, like, let's talk about this, okay? But bringing about the lunar eclipse means that energy is more forward. It's more front. It's more up and center for your life. It's also the ending aspect of the solar eclipse cycle, okay? The solar eclipse cycle, right, started on the 14th. And then here's the lunar eclipse on the 28th, right? It's a little bit more than, let's see how many weeks that is. I'm counting. Don't come after me. It's almost 2 weeks. A little bit more than 2 weeks. So, let's rock. Basically, the energy was like ham during this. Like, and what I mean by ham is it was just a lot. It's a lot of energy. You're probably feeling that. You're sensing it. It's just all over the place. It's everything it's just everything. Okay, the solar eclipse, you were probably wired if you're like me, or you just felt a lot of headache because it was so much energy. Okay, the sun brings so much that you literally feel it in your entire being, wherever the astrological aspects are. It's just tiring in a different sense. The lunar eclipse really is gonna give you this breath of, I can finally breathe. I can finally finish what I need to do. And that's what this is about. This aspect of the lunar eclipse, what it does, I wrote this down. Okay, I wasn't gonna, this way I don't forget anything, because I'd be smacking myself afterwards, and I'd be like, did I really forget to say the one thing I wanted to say? So here we are. I'm not letting any of this pass, because holy mama. Okay, so it talks about intensity, right? Because oppositions are all about intensity. They're all about the push and pull of everything, right? Now, what Taurus is known for is the stubbornness, right? Which is great in some parts of life and then terrible in others. Because you can cling to past selves, past parts of you, things that needed to go, past relationships, wherever this aspect of Taurus is in your chart, right? You can go online and you can find the astrological aspects of your chart, and you can figure it out as you go by. But one of the easiest ways to explain it, and let's explain it, is that all these things that you're trying to cling to the past, whether it's been 2 years, right? This is, a lot of people are talking about how this is the aspect of, it's closing up a cycle from over 2 years ago to you to finish up. But it could be further down the line. This could be a piece of you that you're clinging to that was pre the pandemic period to the world, pre the closures. This could be an aspect of you that it was pre a relationship. If you're somebody like me or a few other people who had learned, right, or had figured out that they had gone through an abusive relationship at one point or another, or just friendships, partnerships, family, something or another, that you had this terrible relationship to, or your job, to where you felt like there was an old you that you're trying to cling back to. You're like, I used to be able to go out and drink and stuff like that and be okay with, you know, it's like this evolving out of a physical cycle such, right? But you have to drop this, okay? It could be that this is out of a relationship, out of something that we just can't be dealing with no more, all sorts of things, okay? Because you're going to realize, or you've come to enlightenment, that literally all this aspect that you're about to drop has to go. Not just because it has to go, but it's been hurting you even deeper. Okay? This can be past relationships, right? This could be an ex. This could be a relationship you're in that you've noticed that you needed to go for a long time because of things. Whatever it is, this work, because it's abusive, right? They take advantage of you. You have no boundaries in this life, in this work. Or this has never been the job that you've wanted, or something like that. You just never felt fulfilled, never wanted to, and you're like, okay, dropping this gives me straight up the chance to finally find something that I want, right? The first step is dropping the thing. Throwing away, well, not throwing away in the aspect, but letting this go so your hands are open to receive what you've actually wanted for a long time. If this is a relationship, if this is a job, if this is something that's related to emotional, physical, mental, or spiritual self, right? If you've been, some people say that they've been spiritually exploring their belief system, right? But you're realizing that all you keep doing is regurgitating things of the past, but you really want to find your own peace, your own state of being, right? You're like, oh, I've tried being a monk, I've tried being this, I've tried being in the Catholicism religion, I've tried doing all these things, but maybe organized religion isn't my thing and I need to go and do spirituality if that's what you're into. I did have one person that was talking to me about that the other day. But this feels more relationship for a lot of people, of some sort of dealing with people at your work, dealing with people at your home life, that family aspect, dealing with relationships in that aspect, or dealing with just not having boundaries, not doing this, okay? Anyways, let's roll into this and make it a little bit easier. The reason why you take the first step is because you will be finally healing from something that hurt you. You know, letting go of the past you. You might have been like, oh, I was a singer, I was this, I was that, I did this, and I was having such an active career back then, and I'd love to go back. And you're like trying to keep every aspect of it when you know that your life now, you don't match the you that was back then. You don't match the I'm going to give everything in a relationship and not have anything back anymore. You know, you are now creating boundaries. You are doing this, right? And that is good. But you need to let go of what you were stubbornly clinging to, and whatever it is you've already noticed it, or you've known you needed to give it up, whether it's an addiction or something like that, right? Or that type of connection that really wasn't helping you, so you can heal, right? If we are holding on to a rope, you can't open your hands to receive what actually is meant for you, right? Until you let go of the rope and say, that's not mine. That's not my burden to carry. That's not my problem. That's not my issue. That's not what I want. That's not what I deserve in this lifetime, or what I deserve here. That first step, the universe, your spirits, your guides, your ancestors, your angels, your God or gods, or the universe, just as a whole, or if you don't believe in any of the aspects, life itself wants to give you the things you want. But you, by taking that first step, the universe, everything around you, can support you in being like, okay, let me finish healing. Let me bring you new experiences. Let me bring you the other things, okay? Because you're also going to have a really good thing that's coming here, which is Mars, right? Mars opposition of Jupiter, okay? That is an aspect of all of the energy in the world, okay? That is the universe's gift to you to help you with this. I'm going to release this, and now I know what I want in life. Now I know what aspects or what job, what's fulfilling, what's I want emotionally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally, right? Like, it could be just education. It could be, you know, this is what I wanted for a different career path. Like, all of those aspects, right? Excuse me. So it gives you all the energy in the world. Now the caveat, all right, because it's like Zeus and Mars, okay, in the astrological aspects, but in mythology, really. A lot of astrology can be explained by mythology. That's why a lot of the constellations are mythological base, right? Based on different myths. They made myths based on the constellations above, right? Because above, so below. That's why astrology works. That's why astrology can give us themes and aspects and stuff like that, right? Let's get into it, okay? So, Mars is confronting Jupiter. Now, Jupiter's huge, right? Jupiter's huge. It's the biggest planet minus the sun in our solar system, right? So, wow, isn't that an aspect, right? Because it's considered Zeus in Greek mythology. In Greek mythology, Mars is seen as less of the hothead than it's seen in Roman mythology. Okay, ancient Roman mythology. Somebody who studies classics. I do. Those are my cats. Hey, StephAArmatolisten. You gonna say hi? No, you saw her a little bit. He's not depicted as much of a hothead. Mars is not depicted as much as a hothead as Aries. Mars or, wow. Sorry. Yep, I did that. So sorry. One sec, let me fix it. I'm sorry, Aries. Aries. But Aries is depicted differently than Mars is in Roman mythology. Hello, whiskers. That's the aspects of it. So, going back into that, Mars likes being in, oh my god. Mars likes being in Scorpio. It's called the traditional ruler if you talk about traditional astrology. And if you talk about more modern astrology, Pluto is the main ruler and Mars is the secondary ruler. Okay? But Mars still likes being there because he's still a ruler. So, what's the aspects of this? Rulers love being there. They enjoy it. They take it differently, right? So they enjoy it. But it aspecting Pluto. Jupiter likes being in Taurus, because Taurus is a hardworking sign, and Jupiter likes to give gifts. It is Big Daddy, right? Big Sky Daddy, and he likes giving gifts. And sorry, cats are absolutely doing everything possible. They like giving gifts, right? Jupiter gives gifts depending on where he's at. For people who are asking about this aspect, right? It talks about how Jupiter loves giving that, right? Jupiter can also be seen as somebody who likes to be fun-loving, but also likes to work. Also likes to give work. He likes to bless you. This is where you'll be aspected. Okay? Taurus is very much hardworking sign, stubborn sign, to the stubborn point, right? It will always want stability. It will always want its home doing well. It always wants these aspects on itself. It likes being here. It likes having a good time, enjoying itself. It likes having the aspects and the physical mains, or the physical things in the world, right? The things it enjoys, food, sex, love, all these things in the physical sense. It enjoys it. It's ruled by Venus, right? Feminine energies. It likes being nurtured. It likes being in that kind of space. A little different to Cancer, before people like to analyze how that is. Taurus is very stubbornly, unless I want to do it, I'm not going to do it. Okay? Unless I'm forced to do it, then I will start on it, because I know that there's no other aspect for me than to stop pushing and pushing and pushing and not wanting to do the thing, right? This is why we're having to let go. This is why we're doing this, right? So this aspect of you're just going to have a shit ton of, this is the universe's way to give you energy, is you're just going to have a shit ton of motivation. You're just going to be like, all right, let's just get this done. I want to do it. I want to do it. Now, Mars likes to play dirty. Okay. Mars likes to play dirty in Roman astrology, right? He's rough. He likes to start fights. He likes to be the war starter, right? He likes to be like, I'm all ready for war. I'm all ready for this, right? So the aspect really can give about you have all this motivation to go the entire way, to do the whole thing that you wanted to planify your life, to actually do everything. But it can get dirty. Okay, you may be like, I want to do this so well that I'm absolutely going to be petty now to the people that I'm leaving. I'm leaving this person, and now I'm going to be petty. I'm going to take my car keys. I'm going to make sure they can't find it. I'm going to put glitter in their car. This is how I'm going to play dirty, right? And the other aspect that you can talk about, hi. Hey, Sabrosa. My girl. The other aspect that you can talk about it playing dirty is that you're going to try to do it at all costs. If you got to throw somebody under the bus, you're like, I have been waiting to throw this person under the bus because they have done absolutely everything possible to make my life hell at this job, in my life, in this relationship, in this friendship, in my career, at work, school, something, right? Whatever this aspect is, right? Or in my spiritual growth, right? They were the priests back then. I don't know, something like that. But whatever this is, right? You're like, oh, I haven't been petty before, but you know what? I should be Queen of Pettyville here. I wouldn't use the energy to go all the way in the pettiness. Instead, work on yourself so hard, because there's going to be something that is going to be unexpected, okay, during this lunar eclipse. Why I mean that? Okay, because Mercury is in Scorpio right now. Mercury's in Scorpio, and this is I've started myself. That's not the set. That's not a sextile. Okay, this is just me starring it for myself, brainwise. It also opposites Jupiter and Taurus. So now this is the aspect we need to worry about, because in astrology, right? Well, in mythology, let's talk mythology. This talks about how Hermes faces off Zeus. Okay? What does that mean? For all the aspects that you hear about with, right? You hear a lot about fights, right? You hear a lot about Mercury fighting Jupiter, right? Because Jupiter is the ruler of the gods, right? He's the ruler of the gods, and he makes the rules, right? He likes to make rules about things. He likes to be like, oh, I have these rules and I take on, and if you decide to act cunning with me, well then I'm going to give you punishment in that sense, right? Like if you're not taking care of these things or if you're not doing this. Because Mercury is sent as the messenger of the gods, right? Hermes, right, is the messenger of the gods. He literally brings the dead souls down to the underworld, to the gateway of the underworld. He goes down in between and explains the messages of what's happening in Olympus to the gods that are down below, and then what's happening below to the gods above, right? He's literally running around and being the messenger to do all the shit, right? But in Roman mythology, right, we can talk about how they are always fighting, okay? Hermes is always able to outsmart Jupiter, right? Which is good in this aspect, because he's cunning, because he uses his brains and his wits and is vigilant. He's vigilant of being like, hey, I'm always going to find an aspect to succeed at beating Zeus. Because Zeus is this, oh, I think I'm the most powerful, I think I'm the most this, in the Roman mythology, right? And it's those aspects of like, you know, we can talk about all the times that Zeus couldn't keep it in his pants, right? And what does that do, right? What does that do? Zeus has a bunch of demigod kids, right? And Hera's mad. How does Hera figure out all of this? Some of it is through Hermes. Hermes literally tattletales on him, being like, hey, I'm just the messenger, don't shoot the messenger, but like he's out doing this, right? And so how else does she find this shit out, right? So he's mad because basically what happened? His plans don't go the way that he wishes that they would, right? So that happens. But this aspect is also what we need to know about astrology. In this aspect, how are you going to outsmart the unexpected that's going to happen today? Okay, because of this Mercury oppositing Jupiter, there is going to be something that comes out the dark that we don't want to know, that we weren't ready for. Okay, if we keep trying to play dirty, keep trying to be petty and stuff like that, this other thing is going to shock the shit out of us. It's going to jump scare us out of this. And we're going to be like, oh, fucking hell, what just happened? What just happened? What just happened? Holy crap, now how do I deal with it? If it's a technology issue, if it's this work issue, if it's that somebody decided to pop into our lives, such as an ex-husband, an ex-relationship, if this is somebody that you cut off out of your family that you don't talk to, just shows up out the freaking blue in front of your house, you know. This is something of that aspect. Or this person just comes to talk to you, comes trying to come back into your life. I don't know what it is, right? Like, it just depends on you and your aspect in your life, right? In your astrology. But basically, something is going to come out the woodwork. Something's going to come to just cause mayhem. So this planning, this stuff, really keep your head to the ground and have planning and just have your wits about you. What's this thing that's going to be kind of scary that just kind of comes about and tries to create chaos in your life? This could be the thing if you didn't actually fully let go of the thing you needed to. You said, oh yeah, I'm a quit drinking today, or I'm a quit drinking, right? Like, that's my bad habit. Or I'm a quit smoking. But I'm going to smoke as much as possible today, or I'm going to drink as much as possible, so that way I can just go cold turkey tomorrow. And then you have a scare. Okay, for some people, it may be that, like, you're somebody that needs to cut out the sugar, right? You're, like, pre-diabetic or whatever. And so you just binge on sugar, and then you gotta go get pills, go to the doctor because you're not feeling so well, or, hey, I need to go to the ER. I literally am having almost the equivalent of a diabetic coma that your family's having to notice. It doesn't have to be that extreme. It just be like, you feel woozy now because you ate too much sugar when you knew you're pre-diabetic. For people who are like big drinkers and they're like, oh, I never get drunk, they drank too much. And now you're literally on the toilet. Right? Throwing up your stomach contents so that way you can feel better. Whatever it is that you're saying you're going to cut out, but this is going to be the last thing, that's what it's going to be. Right? You're going to have the jump scare for yourself that's going to tell you, now you need to quit. Right? This wasn't a joke. You really needed to quit today. Well, it doesn't have to start today, but at least the first steps too, right? You can be like, hey, I might need rehab if I'm alcoholic, right? Or, hey, I need to at least look for a place to live so I can move out of this person's place. Or if it's school, right? I need to go talk to that advisor so I can make sure I can transfer. I can do this. Whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. Okay, because you have to expect the unexpected. And there's something that's going to jump out and scare you. You got to use your mind. You got to use your cunningness. You got to use what you got, what you have available to you, like Hermes does. So that way you can protect yourself from whatever scary stuff comes out that Zeus is trying to scare you with, right? And Jupiter's trying to show you with. Depending on what aspects, it can be that he's trying to show you that there's an ex coming back. Don't take them back, okay? Usually when exes come back into our lives, right, or they try to, it's because spirit, the universe is basically testing you. Are you going to accept the thing that you left? Are you going to re-accept it? Because then you haven't done the maturity, haven't done the growth to move on. That's really what that is for a lot of people. For some people, they've come and they've changed and stuff like that. Great, okay. I believe people don't really change because I've seen it in the aspects. I'm a veteran EMT. My daily life is crazy, right? But I see people in the extreme forms, and people always tell, oh, they said they were changed and whatnot, and then here we are with the cops, and you got a black eye. Oh, my family member said they were not doing drugs no more, and here we are at 2 a.m. because they overdosed. Great. Not to say that, but it's just, there's always some signs before, and so you got to make that discernment of, am I willing to take that back? Am I willing to deal with that again? Am I willing to even try that again? Yeah? No? Then we don't do it no more, okay? Especially because the day after, right, the day after, is when these two are already in the same house, right? These two are already in the little same block, the same little pie sliver, right? Because it's, think of a clock, there's 12 sections, right? The 12 houses. Like we just talked about, Mars is in Scorpio, and Taurus is in Scorpio. So when are they going to come together? Because they're in the same house already. They're just going to come together within a couple of days, right? The 29th, the day after, they both conjunct. Now, this could be actually a good conjunct. Lots of energy, that's what Mars is all about, is lots of energy, and the mind. Now, this could be a day that you start overthinking. This could also be a day that we put 2 and 2 together, and we figure out what scared us yesterday, and we fix it today, or we fix it for this next week to come through, and now we have our plans set in stone. Now we've actually given it up. We've actually done the thing. We have a good morning. We have a awakening, a eureka moment. What yesterday felt exhausting, and you had so much things, and you had all this motivation to complete things and whatnot, and trying to figure things out. Now you're actually putting them into action, right? 29th would be a good day to do some action on this. If you have ideas and you've thought about it, start making a list of those ideas. That could be your action. Or you can be like, okay, I have all these things to do. I can send out the email so that way the professor sees it tomorrow. I can go look at apartments because this apartment complex opens on Sunday, right? I can go to AA, Anonymous, right? For that, I can go to the hospital and be like, hey, when is your first meeting for Alcoholics Anonymous, right? If you're somebody like that, if you're somebody, whatever the aspects are that you're having to agree with, learn of, or change, right? Or, hey, I can go to the cops because they're still open. The police house is open 24/7. Well, for those that work there. But it's open from 8 a.m. in the morning all the way to 4 p.m., 6 p.m. at night, the courthouse. And it's open every single day. Are they open on Sundays? Are they not open on Sundays? Is it Sunday where you live? Is it not Sunday where you live? I don't know. So it's all about that stuff. Now, let's give in or talk about more of the stuff. Okay? That's that, right? That's what that is, okay? The other thing that I wanted to talk about is 31st. 31st. That's fun. The 31st is Halloween, okay? Venus is in Virgo. It likes being there. Venus likes being in 3 houses because it's one of the rulers, technically. And that is Virgo, Libra, and Taurus. And Taurus, Tauro. I'm going to say Tauro just to make my life easier because I always say Taurus. I'm so sorry. It likes being there, okay? And we have a trine. So it's to the 3rd degree. Well, not the 3rd degree as in like exponential. It's 120. If I'm correct, it's 120. Make sure so that way people who also do math don't come at me for my dumb shit. Yeah, it's 120 degrees or a third of an angle. It's a third of an angle. Trine. Okay? Trining. So, trining is good. Okay? Because it's a softer aspect. It's not as harsh as the 2 to 2. For people that talk about trines, I always think of trines as earth, sea, and sky, right? If you are somebody who is of the Christianity or came from Christianity, right? Holy Spirit, Jesus, and God, right? The 3, the Holy Trinity, depending on what it is, right? So, for one, we have Uranus, okay? Uranus in Taurus, okay? Uranus is fun. He's dreamy. They are... Neptune is more dreamy, and Uranus is more Aquarius. Fight for what's right, okay? For people that don't know what's going on in the world right now, right? I'm going to touch these politics because truly I'm somebody who is on the side as I can be, and I do my best and try to repost and trying to do that because I'm an ally to, before someone decides to come at me, Palestine. Free Palestine, because that was their original things. I've read as much information as I possibly can get my hands on. Stuff like that, right? It was Palestinian Earth and all sorts of stuff. I'm still there. I'm still there. I've learned. I literally go back and I read things and I read things and I read things and I read things and I read things. And truly, it's confusing. It's confusing. But there's so much that it doesn't make sense for people to be on the other side when, you know, Israel sees Palestinian people as less than dirt. And literally they carry around signs about kill Muslims and stuff like that. Like, I'm not here for it. No. You cannot be like that against other people. You can't. Because I'm not going to support it. And I happen to be a firefighter EMT, right? Like, I literally have taken an oath to absolutely protect as many people as possible. So, it's crazy out here. All of that. When she feels that, like, I'm worried or something, she, like, comes up here. Or one of them will. Hi there. But, yeah. That's very much what it is. When I think of Uranus, Uranus is action. Which means some type of action is gonna happen on the 31st, or is gonna happen on the 30th, the 31st, or the 1st of November. And that is actually Dia de los Muertos, or Dia de las Almas. For us, son las ánimas. Dia de las Ánimas is the 1st. Instead of Dia de los Muertos, but it is Dia de los Muertos for Mexicanos. I'm Latina and I'm also Sicilian, right? When we talk about the day of spirits, the day of souls, kind of is the best translation for it. And it makes a lot of sense that when the veil is extremely thin, right? Before someone decides to come at me, I see spirits anyways, right? Being an espiritista, being someone who's a medium anyways. When you take into account that I see them anyways, it's always pretty easily, it's like not having a veil at all. But I can tell when it's almost nothing, when it's literally even stronger. These spirits look like walking, living people even more than before, right? Back then, certain days you can tell, I'm like, that person's like 2 inches off the ground. Like, that is a spirit, right? But there have been days where full out, I'm reading the freaking paper, sitting down on a thing, and I'm over here and I'm talking to a spirit, right? Which I don't know as a spirit. Literally, they look living. I'm like, da 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 da. And then I'll have people that walk by and they're like, oh my God, she must be crazy. She's talking to the air. And I'm like, shit. The person's dead that I'm talking to. And I'm like, that's why this person doesn't look like they're modern enough. Because usually the people, the way they die, they kind of choose of the stuff that they had. Or whatever they were wearing when they died. So, all that craziness. But it would make sense that the days of people's souls, of ancestors' days, these are ancestor work days, are going to be some of the most intense days for these type of these type of humanitarian aspects and humanitarian things. We're going to get either some type of progress, truly, we're going to get some type of progress via the ancestors, or via people finally putting down their foot and saying, I'm not going to deal with colonizers anywhere. I'm not going to deal with this anywhere. Because what is just and what is right will always win in the aspect of the dead, of the ancestors, of people, and of aspects. Now, people are always like, oh, but unfortunately, colonizers have won before, right? That's why Latino America, right? We speak Spanish, right? Because Spaniards came through and decided to win and conquer, right? Not fully. A lot of us survived. A lot of us still are indigenous, right? Our existence is really resistance, right? But I get it, right? But it gives off this aspect that a lot of things are going to happen, and it's going to be almost this settlement, this exchange, or this extreme way of it's going to be settled by the dead, by the spirits, by the beings, right? That's the 31st song. So, have hope. And it's all sorts of crazy. And it's all sorts of out there. But yeah. Let's get into the aspects of the cards, shall we? So, I pulled from the Cosmovisions Tarot. I actually pulled from the Pocket Edition, or the little tin edition, which is the smaller version, while I was at firefighting. That's fun. I decided to do that because I was on shift and we had been in a lull, right? I hadn't had any calls and whatnot, and I didn't get any calls afterwards. We got one for the transformer, but not the rescue, because I was on the rescue truck. And yeah, so these are the larger versions, and as I'm looking at them, I'm getting more and more and more and more and more details about it. But for the people who are wondering about Halloween, and Dia de los Muertos, and Day of the Dead, Dia de las Almas, de las Purgatorio, all of that, so much is there, so many things are happening that we're gonna get either some form of resolution, or really it's gonna get real. This is the best way I put it. And what the spirits say, I always say this for people that are straight up, like, if you haven't worked with me, if you haven't dealt with me and whatnot, but I'm very big in trust the dead, not the living. Now that sounds crazy, doesn't it? But only the living can lie. And the dead don't. The dead don't lie. Okay? And the living do. Sounds crazy as hell, but I've never had a dead person lie to me. Because you can tell. Once they get to a point, they can't lie to you. Why? Because it's not just in their contract. There's nothing to be able to, even if they were compulsive liars in this life, they cannot lie. They can try to deceive you, but they cannot lie. If you ask straight up, are you my blank name grandmother? For some people, the spirit cannot say yes when it is not. It can try, but it just feels hollow. You can tell almost immediately. Anybody who's dealt with spirits, beings, or such, you can tell. Okay? And then you always have people that talk about, like, oh, demons deceive. No. Demons come from daemons. Daemons is the Greek word for knowledge. Demons and angels are the same coin, the two sides. Angels are mercenaries in the sense that they will remove everything you need. If you say, hey, I need this thing gone from my life because this is the aspect that has caused me harm, bam, they got you. Now, if you're like, instead, I want to learn about this, I don't recommend dealing with demons and don't recommend dealing with angels that you do not know, that all these aspects, because you need to have respect and you need to understand that these shits is contracts. Even with angels, okay? But if you need knowledge, you go to demons, right? They will know things some of us will never want to know, okay? Like, some of us will be like, Jesus. You always hear people talk about, like, oh, they sold their soul to the devil so that way they could get money. No, what they probably did is they probably said that, hey, I'm giving this up, whatever this up is, and I want to figure out how to make money. And they said, all right, this is how you make money, the best for you. Bam. And that information right there is why coaches, consultants, teachers, educators make a shit ton of money in this lifetime and on this present plane too. Straight up. With things in the spirit realm, you got to pay something in the spiritual self. I recommend wine. I just recommend wine. But do understand, not every spirit wants wine. This is why you don't fuck with shit if you don't know shit. And if you're not somebody like that, I'm not coming to save you. And I know a lot of us are not going to be put in that situation. We're like, look, you don't summon something you can't get rid of. And you don't summon things if you really don't have the spiritual self, the spiritual will to deal with beings, okay? Why I recommend people are not to be using the word bruja if you're not a person who is of descent of Latinidad, people of color, okay? Don't be using the word, because if you're just a witch, great. You can say you're a witch. But if you're like, oh, I don't do Wicca, but I'm not a witch, I do brujeria, and you're not from a brujeria lineage, I'm already questioning who the fuck you are. Like, it drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. There's little aspects that I gotta talk about, little things that, here are your caveats, here are the warnings, right? Anyways, let's rock and roll and let's get into this. It was gonna be over an hour, so sorry, but I'm gonna try this. All right. First thing that we have is the Elementalist. Okay, this is from the Cosmovision's Oracle. The Environmentalist. Okay, the Environmentalist. Clear-minded, it's the truth, it's the level-headed, it's this having an empowered self. This is coming together, having deep connections. I wrote this shit down because I want to make sure I got everything down. When I saw this card, all I thought were deep connections with yourself and with walking in the ways that you've always wanted toward. Walking towards yourself with others, okay? I also see it as this is very much coming to terms with everything that's around you, okay? For y'all, okay, this is the Environmentalist here. They are moving the earth, wind, water, fire, and the elements that are around them, okay? It is the King of Swords, the King of Air, okay? So, there's that. But also what we have next to it is soulmates. This is the representation of the Lover's card in this oracle. In this oracle, certain things mean opposite than what they would in a normal tarot, but it talks about different aspects of a card, okay? Because this talks about soulmates, right? This talks about like union. It is the Lover's card. But it doesn't talk about having to choose or having to try. It's almost like the car aspect or the chariot. The chariot is trying to bring together two pieces of yourself to find it. This card gives me truly it gives me having to connect to yourself in the universe, trusting the process, finally giving yourself over the things that you've always been worried about. This is spirit telling you that literally it has everything that you have everything that you need in front of you. Taking those first steps, the universe fixes all the things in the background. It fixes all the things that you wanted to, that you wish for, that you hope for, that you've always desired for. Straight up. Okay? Straight up. Another thing that we have here is the Three of Embers, or the Three of Fire. This is enlightenment, awakening. This is the almost prophecy. I see it almost like as a prophecy thing because it just popped up in my brain. But it's almost the... What did I write here? I'm leaving the old world behind and taking lessons from someone that's better, right? Taking lessons from someone that's better in the sense of the next card, which is the Eight of Lotuses, okay? Another thing that I wrote is expansion, okay? Yeah, I just wrote expansion. Because this is you expanding from the thing. The Three of Embers or the Three of Wands talks about usually about the person that is right there on the edge, that the boat is coming, and now it has to make that choice to go on and to actually seek the things it desires. It almost gives off a little bit of a different energy than the Three of Water, the Three of Cups, or the Three of Chalices in this one. and this one is lotuses, my bad. It gives off almost not necessarily a celebration, but of expanding yourself and finally taking the leap of faith, okay? Taking that leap of faith towards yourself, taking that leap of faith towards the universe. It's literally giving you this spark. It's literally almost seeming like it's coming at this moment of where there's lightning, right? You're not really having a choice. It's coming no matter whether you decided to do it or not, okay? That's really what this aspect of this eclipse is about, okay? Learning new worlds, leaving an old world, old representations of self, old things behind. Why I keep saying that this is some type of relationship towards self or towards others, towards aspects of yourself or towards aspects you have literally had to long gone leave it, because this Eight of Lotuses is completely underwater. Completely underwater. And this is a humpback whale, if I am correct. And whales depict a lot of spirituality. They talk about a lot of spirituality. Some people even have them as spirit animals. They have them as spirit animals. They have them as guides. And for people that understand that animals can be guides to help you, whether it's in your dreams, whether it's in physical life, all sorts of things, right? This is telling you to get on and you need to move on, right? You are leaving from this old stuff that is having to be a wreckage in your life, this old wreckage. It's like the ship wrecked, these things you were trying to repair and trying to fix while you're trying to hold your breath underwater. Literally what I just saw, when you've been trying to hold their breath underwater and like trying to fix these things. But really, if you just leave this wreckage to go, take what you can salvage and go up to the top so you can breathe, okay? Because whales and dolphins have lungs like humans do. They have lungs because they're mammals. What does that mean? That means that they can only hold their breath so long before they gotta go up to the top and be like, I gotta release whatever it is. And for a lot of the sea, especially where the humpback whales go, because they're so big, that's a huge ass aspect in between the bottom and the top, right? The aspects between the floor of the sea floor, right, and the aspects of up above sea level again, right? The seawater, right? That dive is huge. For them, it's almost like a tank of air. That's what I think. In firefighting, we have a tank of air, and we know about how much it is. It's we use 45-minute bottles, but it's 4,500 psi of compressed air whenever we go into fires. And so for us, we think about, okay, it's time for us to leave, because whoever the lowest one on air is, and we're like, okay, that person has about 20% of air left. We're like, that's about how much it's going to take for us to get between here, the door, and out, and make sure that they're not vibe alerting. Vibe alerting is when our machines go zzz, and they vibrate to be like, get your ass out that fire, get out of the building, the structure. 15 minutes or so, man, like, come on. That's the max I can give you before your sucking mask is what we call. And sucking mask is really different. Just in firefighting aspect, it talks about like your lifeline. Like it really, sucking mask means you have zero air left in that bottle. You're literally like, it's between me and whatever I have right here, in between going out, right? You don't want that, because that's extreme, that's form, that's bad. You're taught to learn to breathe, so that way skip breaths, longer breaths, shorter breaths. You're taught to try your best to absolutely conserve your air in case you can't get out and stuff, but not what I talk about. But that's what I think of when I think of tank of air, of how the air works in them. They have a certain amount of air, and they notice, like, I guess as the animals, they know, okay, I only have about this much of air left, or this much time before I can't really hold this air in my lungs anymore, because they release a little bit and a little bit, a little bit. And they're like, I don't have a lot. I got to get back up to the surface to go get air if I really want to come back down. Instead, it's like, all right, it's time to go. I know that this is as much as I have. This is as much as I can hold my breath to keep dealing with this. It's time for me to release, time for me to go. Hopefully that helps that out. The next thing we have here is I have the 7 of trees and the 6 of swords with the 6 of birds. So this is the 7 of trees, abundance. This is the 7 of coins. The aspects are a little bit different. right? This deck is a little bit different. What else do I have about this? Your purpose toward abundance, your purpose towards your desires, right? Coming towards your desires. This is you've left the sea, you've left the wreckage, you're getting out, and now you're going towards the abundance that you've always wanted to. Because you're releasing what doesn't serve you. You're leaving whatever needs to be on the mountain, goodbye. Whatever's wreckage, whatever mess, whatever stuff is left now, okay? There's only so many of you that can go, right? This is you realizing there's only so much I can take into my next life, into the things that I want, into this new birth, of a sense. Now, this is death. This is the 0 card or the Fool card. This is more about relighting the fire after it's gone out. This death talks about almost the rebirth instead, is the best way that I would explain this. But for people that deal with death, right, that are death doulas, death, we see the dead people, we see spirits and beings and such, or those that are trying to learn about it. Death is not the end. Like, you need to realize that, because a lot of these spirits literally choose then to have a contract to either protect a certain person that they loved, whether it's grandchild, child, parent aspects, right? Not only are they looking at this differentiation, they're looking at all of this that's going on. They're looking at all this craziness, all this stuff. How do you reignite the fire for you to continue? That's what this is giving you. You're giving this, now I have motivation to go after it. We're going to use this and we're going to light the spark that is in myself that I felt like it was dim forever. I felt like since I had to release this, it's gone now. That it's this. That I might not find myself in this new aspects that I'm having to learn about myself. I'm not going to find these aspects in these new changes, okay? This is how I know that you're going to be releasing not just of these 2 years, though a lot of astrologers are talking about like, oh, 2 years and stuff. No, this stuff is longer. This is you coming to pieces and parts that may have been very close to your Akashic records in many lifetimes. Things that you've had to release lifetime after lifetime, family after family. Things that you're having to let go of from previous lineage blocks, previous things. Okay, this is previous of your own lives, right? This is things that you had to learn back then, was how to release a partner because you couldn't release one, and that's how you passed last time. The person hurt you. The person was this. You never got over it. You never did that. Whatever the aspects are, you'd have to learn about that and grow through that. You might even have dreams that may be prophetic in nature. Lunar eclipses, people talk about that a lot. Eclipses are the seasons where we have funky dreams. If you're somebody who has aspects of such as seers or such as oracles or diviners and stuff, you may seriously find that these are some funkiest dreams you've ever had in your life. You're like, why did I just fucking see aliens? Why did I deal with this? What the hell was that? What the hell is this? And what the hell is that? And where the hell am I? Like, sometimes I be coming back and I'm like, I'm just sitting there with coffee, and I reuse my water bottles. They play with them. I'm not worried about it. Before someone comes at me, I prefer using my metallic one. It's in the wash right now, in the washing machine, drying. Literally, I'm like, I'm here with the coffee or the tea, and I'm literally staring at it, and I'm like, am I fully back? Because for people that astral project, you know what I'm talking about. You literally leave your body partially, and then you're like coming back to self, and you're like, I don't feel like me. And then, like, there comes a point where you're just like, you feel the surge, and you're like, oh, I think I'm fully back. Oh, and you just feel like all your pieces and parts are, like, melding back together, and you're like, I'm exhausted. What the hell was that? And you're like, man, did the rest of me go for, like, a run? What the hell happened there? Right? If you got work to do in the spiritual realm, you know what I'm talking about. Now, I do recommend always warding your house and warding your body and warding the things around you, because you never know. But if you deal with astral projection, if you deal with things, you know what I'm talking about, in that feeling that you're literally like, I don't know what's life, what's real, what's not. So that may happen in those type of dreams. You may have these really prophetic, these really funky ones, or something of that sort. Because lunar eclipses talk about the moon. They talk about what your moon's aspects are. They talk about things such as lunatic things, such as things that relate to the moon, things that relate to our psyche, to ourself, to our emotions, to the deepest darks depths of ourself and of our soul? What are the things we stubbornly cling to? That we will always be something, that we will have always been something, that we have gained some expertise and we will never be anything else, and this is the highest expertise we'll ever have. This is the best relationship we'll ever have when we're not enjoying where we're at. This has been the best one that I've had, but they don't treat me well. This is the best job that I've had so far in pay, but they don't respect my boundaries. You know, whatever these aspects are, you have to release them and let them go. Okay? I hope that this helps. I hope that these second chances, that these new home and new self and these new goals that you're putting together that are reigniting yourself, that's the motivation between these amazing lives that you wish for, that you've always desired, always had this fire to do, but it's always been diminished, it's always been tired, it's always been this, it's always been that, this, that, and it, all these excuses come to mind, right? 555. The change is here. The extreme change. Do understand that if you don't do the change, Spirit's gonna push you for it, and you're absolutely gonna do it anyways. So would I rather take that leap and say, all right, Spirit said jump, I'm jumping, let's hope this is the right height. That's how I've hit this point. I'm like, you tell me jump, I tell you how high. Sometimes it's crazy. You're just like, this, what? And they're like, either you jump or I'm gonna push you, your choice. You're like, you know what, I'll do it on my own accord. I'm gonna jump now. It's just like that. Now, I am not saying to go kill yourself. I'm not saying to go suicide. I am not saying whatever it is. This is more in the psychological aspect, because a lot of people talk about it. And in case y'all are of my younger crowd and stuff like that, I always tell people, whenever we are going through our teens into adulthood, right? Whenever we are finally solidifying our brains and we are dealing with that, there has to be some form of transformation, right? But it's meant to be psychological, mental, emotional, not the physical. Why? Because then we would be talking about suicide, death. We would be talking about these extreme forms. Please get help if you need it. Please get therapy if that's a good idea for you. And there's BetterHelp.com, I think is the website I've seen. I am not sponsored by anything, but there's many places online that you can get that. Or if your education system has it, your work has it, your other thing has it, it's something or another. Get help if you need it, right? Don't just expect one reading supposed to fix it. But if we can help you at least give some aspects to it and at least give you some peace until you go get therapy, well, then that works for it, okay? And I hope that people who are experiencing these extreme forms of violence in Palestine and the Palestinians that are happening, that I'm excited for how your spirits are going to help you. Not because I wish death, never. I don't wish death on anybody, okay? Truly don't. But I do recognize that the children, the spirits, the beings, and the people that are dying right now, they will come back stronger in the aspects, and they will defend the people that they've wished to defend, that they've taken things to. Alright, y'all. I hope that this helps out. I hope that this gives some aspects. We'll see if I upload this one or if I upload a different one. But yeah, I did it all under an hour. Hey! Alright, y'all. I love y'all. I hope that these new beginnings are better. I hope that they release the old and these new opportunities offer you everything you've wanted to. Alright, bye, y'all. Have a great one. If you need more information on me, SAArmatoArts.com. If you need anything else from me, you can look through all the YouTube videos. You can look through other things. I hope this gave you aspects. And yeah, the thing's been on my mind a lot about that, about these wars that are religious and home wars, right? About who was given this land by who was given this, who should have this, who shoulda, woulda, coulda had, should have this, does have this, all this. It's crazy. But I wish peace. I truly do. As somebody who deals with other things and deals with things on the home front, because let me tell you, I've been shot at, dealt with death in all forms. It's it's something that the PTSD is plenty. I have less than my military family, than the other military people that my World War II grandfather. He has more PTSD than I ever will because he was on the front of a war, right? My uncle had it as well, right? And it's just different aspects. Different people have different things. But my family's got enough high vigilance and PTSD to last lifetimes. So here we are, taking it easy. I recommend for people who also have those type of things, look into it. Take it easy. Breathe. And for those that can, call people. Figure out how all that's going to work. All right, y'all. I hope that this helps. Bye now.